This thing on.
This thing was struggling last time.
Holy cow. Scott Shaw said he has a pending $102,000 STEM contract in the works with Lincoln Tech.
They were about that last year.
Wow.
So that's just getting the business back.
That's impressive. Did they see like good return on it?
Yep.
Awesome. That's super cool.
We should kind of tap into this webcam too and just go back and forth.
Just me. Me just going like this, like nodding.
I don't see that this is that power strip is working. This one over here doesn't seem to.
Is it turned on?
Well, I don't know if all of these ones.
Can you look? No?
No, it's there's a power strip in the back of this.
Oh, yeah, you gotta. If they could make it more confusing, that would be awesome. Pump up jam. Pump up. Hope you guys are excited to get nice and toasty under those lights.
Always.
Meltingly hot.
Okay. You hit input on there.
Yeah. That cord plugged in.
Put that in.
What?
Oh, man. Here, I'll pass. You have to remember what's connected. You want to use this? Yes, you have to hit select.
Daniel, something for later. So prior to me starting, there was a time period when the EDU site had an issue where when trying to push things through social media, it would list a bunch of social media sites under the description. I don't know if that was something that you ended up tackling and fixing, and it's happening again.
What?
Yeah.
It's doing.
So when you try to post an article, like a recent article on Facebook,
Yeah.
in the description of the article, instead of using the metadata that we enter, it says Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, like all these sites. And it was something that used to happen in like June and prior, and a little bit in July.
What are you pushing from?
From like literally copying and pasting into Facebook the link because we don't have a buffer or anything.
Oh, we don't have buffer anymore.
No.
No, someone locked us out of it.
So we're maybe getting good speed at some point, but
It's locked.
yeah.
It's locked.
Okay.
so if you have any idea, that'd be great. If not,
Very
we've been
useful,
trying to
yeah.
figure out
If you're just putting the URL in there and it's throwing a bunch of crap.
as the description underneath the link in the image for Google Plus and Facebook. And so if someone tries to share it with the social share buttons as well, it's the same thing.
You
Don't know why. Went to social share buttons, uninstalled some plugins, tried to workshop it, but the issue being that there's so many random plugins that don't know what could be the issue right now.
Wow.
So if you have any idea, if not, it's something we'll figure out shortly.
Okay.
Okay. As soon as you gentlemen are ready to just do a little practice, I know this is slated to 11:30. It's already almost 11:10. So.
Okay.
So Daniel,
So we have a crap ton of content to go through today. That was a technical term.
Why don't you give the short and sweet version of that?
See, crap.
So we're not gonna sit here and jibber jabber like we usually do.
Is that more or less than Olympic time? Crap.
I'd like to see that.
Uh,
Lack of the jibber jabber, if you will.
you were telling us to jibber jabber what we were doing.
Sure, I was.
I need to do
Jibber
something.
jabber. Like this is the time where we do the jabbering,
Yeah.
and then we do the intro, and then we get into the actual content. So
Interesting
Yeah.
how it was referred to as banter before, but now
Bantering.
it's jibber jabber.
I mean, jibber jabber.
the banter period.
I'm saying the post 2 p.m. jibber jabber.
Oh, I'm talking about the bantering
pre 2
will
p.m.
need to be limited this time around.
Listen, folks, we are not messing around today. We're going to dive right into it, get right to these last two ingredients in our recipe for transforming STEM education at your school.
But first,
Yes.
Sem Chef has some
We've
great
proven-
stories from the Boise State game that he'd
Yeah,
like to share
so,
for the next half an
How
hour.
would you say that?
You're like, now I need to tell them.
Why would you say that?
Voila!
What's
All right.
the biggest school in Nebraska, Daniel?
Whoa, this is like extra close to me. Why is that extra close to me?
What's
Can
the
you hear
biggest-
us?
What's the biggest school in Kentucky?
I can hear you.
That would be the University of Kentucky, I believe. Okay, so looking kind of rough there.
I feel
The
good.
HD cameras don't do
No,
well with you.
I'm Tim White, executive chef at Stonewall Resort. Gotta work.
Yeah. So the last time we covered these top two, this time we're going to cover the other two. We're going to go through, here's the questions, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah,
All right.
and blah.
So today we're focusing on
Diversity?
diversity and partnership.
And the
I
camera.
know these softball questions. They're focusing on, like, can you read, Glenn?
And the camera. We're gonna focus on the camera.
Yes, today
A lot.
we are focusing on the camera. We want
So
to
you're
look.
saying that we did
at
not
you.
look at the camera?
No, not at all. And that's.
I
you should
tried a little
You
last
should be
time.
looking at each other a lot, and that's great. What I'm gonna try to do is stand behind the camera more,
And
and
I
that'll help.
and I
a lot.
slap-
We can talk to
And
you.
then he's gonna hold up a puppet.
And yes,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I slouch
a little
lot.
bit. You both slouch a little bit. You both like about halfway through. You're like, we've been talking for like 30 minutes.
Yes.
This really sucks.
Yeah, at some point I'm just like, you're lucky they're not just like this.
You're about like a half foot up from
So,
that.
Daniel.
So these 2
It was a
points,
rough morning in the kitchen.
diversity, partnership, are really about transforming corporate or institutional culture and transforming classroom culture.
Right,
Those are the
right.
pieces that we're challenging today. And I want to start with the diversity aspect of it, which we know, I think broadly on a national scale, diversity in STEM is one of the key drivers for really STEM education. The focus on that STEM hiring is the concept of diversity. And answering that fundamental question of the program, is there a place for me?
Right, and then diversity, is more than just. I mean, obviously, look at all the statistics.
I'm going to print these out again.
Statistics.
PD cannot show up.
PD is not going to show up. You look at all the. Women are grossly underrepresented in STEM.
Gross.
Grossly.
Oh, sorry. Grossly underrepresented.
Are-
Just watching
Women are
what you were
gross.
saying there. We have a woman in the room, some in the audience. It just
Women are underrepresented. Are misrepresented.
No, I think that's.
You're going to say this and then be like, whoa. What did I just say?
Women are gross, and it freezes.
That's what will happen is the women will just.
Replacement's going to make an auto-tuned remix of women are
Women are
gross,
gross.
women are gross, women are gross.
Women are gross.
I did not take offense to that statement, by the way.
I did.
So women are vastly underrepresented
There you go.
in STEM careers. You've got some stats on the percentage of females that are those terms kill me every time. You've got
Let's review
STEM
some of the statistics
capable-
around this. Overall, I think fundamentally though, so if we look at why is diversity important, fundamentally, right, is because human
You've got this
communities.
whole thing of like what you want to talk about.
Right.
I like-
And they have to- I'm going down the
I don't know what any of
slides.
it is.
We have the slides in
You
front
know
of us
it,
here.
I don't. What's this next slide you got here, Daniel?
So again, you're wrong, dude. You were so wrong. So glad you can pitch that back. Let me print this out so we have these in front of us.
Human engagement and diversity of talent, not a singular
Conception
conception
of
of
ability,
That's a really hard phrase, not a singular conception of ability.
right?
Human torch, not a singular conception of ability.
Okay, 16 slides.
How many times you can say STEM in a single webinar? I'm going for like 64.
STEM, 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 STEM.
That's cheating. The problem with stemming, the lack of STEM education in today's STEM-oriented society, really stem from
Can we sing the Joseph Smith song from South Park? Joseph Smith went on a mission. Dun, 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 dun.
No, we cannot.
Slammy wings, slammy wings.
All right, so with the diversity piece, right, key statistics, we're gonna get to the key statistics before we get to those stats on females, minorities in these subjects. There's a broader understanding of what diversity means around STEM,
Right.
around these, around jobs and careers, especially when you consider STEM literacy. So our phrase here, at the heart of the challenge is sort of reshaping our understanding of what ability and what intelligence is. So what do you think about that?
Love it.
Billion, right? So I think a lot of educational models over the years have started from this concept that intelligence is fixed. Even just science, et cetera, has shifted dramatically. 2013 was kind of a seminal year in that the publication of the Brookings Institution study, and that's some what we refer to in our background here, is that they're expanding the concept of what a STEM career, STEM subject, and STEM job is beyond the traditional research subjects, and that's critical to really understanding workforce development and success for individuals. So we talk about diversity. It is for sure females, minorities, traditional understandings of kind of diversity, but it really is a diversity of opportunity, a diversity of what success looks like, a diversity of career options for people.
We mentioned, growth mindset, the idea that we can learn new skills, we can develop new abilities, new talents by giving effort. That's Carol Dweck has that whole set of research on growth mindset. And we often there was a study done recently about how women are young girls are often dissuaded from entering into STEM fields at a very subliminal level by their predominantly female teachers in elementary levels. And it's because those teachers themselves were dissuaded and kind of pushed away from STEM careers, STEM fields. They're often not very confident in those fields, and they will give off this impression, and students can tell right away when teachers are really confident in a subject or not confident in a subject, and it's a real pervasive issue with especially with young girls not being encouraged to pursue these and being told things like, well, girls really aren't very good at those kind of things. Seeing those kind of not seeing a lot of role models in those roles, not being exposed to those people as being something they can aspire to. So I know a lot of the stats that you have back all that up.
Yeah, that concept, can I see myself in being able to do that? There's someone else that is like me in those studies. And for sure, we see in the IT world in general, for years, Facebook, Twitter, the giants in Silicon Valley never published where they were from a diversity standpoint in all of those fields. And just the pipelines in general, I think were some data that we pulled here from Forbes study in 2012 that just looked at exactly what you're talking about, right? Just childhood interest and engagement between females and males, significantly different to begin with, which means your entire pipeline, all the way to those eventually who are in executive type positions, is framed because the beginning of the pipeline is so much narrower.
Right.
And so a large part of what we're looking at here is just all the different opportunities and being able to connect STEM not just to the traditional concepts of engineering, traditionally male-dominated society, but understanding that engineering exists in all sorts of things we've done behind the scenes in fashion and theater and automation engineering, all these sorts of things that have a much broader appeal. And so as you show diversity of how STEM skills and STEM literacy applies in pretty much all occupations, you start to open the funnel for all students really to begin to see themselves and the importance of this for them.
Yeah, I mean, there was a study done recently by Alcoa here around perceptions of STEM, and a lot of questions to parents about would they encourage their children to go into STEM fields, how much do they think STEM careers made. They were focusing on manufacturing or manufacturing engineers for this survey, but it's just obvious that there's a real misperception from parents around what those jobs are, and that leads to something that I lost my focus on now because I'm looking at the camera.
Just keep talking with your hands. It's
Don't worry.
fine.
Yeah.
Works real well. It actually does look real good when we're doing a lot of hand motions.
No,
Very animated.
like Daniel was saying, if young girls don't see themselves as being, you know, talk about a manufacturing engineer. It sounds like a job where you're going to be. It's not a job that's going to typically appeal to young girls. But you start looking at, well, what are all the different industries that have those kind of positions, and you find out there's all kinds of industries that involve, you know, the arts that involve things that are going to appeal to young women and men. But you know, it's that idea that, wow, all of these industries have these fields and these jobs in them. It's not just going out there and working in a very stereotypical kind of engineering program.
Yes.
I'm rambling today.
You are.
Daniel.
Yeah. So one of the research principles that we have for teachers, and you alluded to this, for those teachers, especially at elementary, middle, and then high school, is just, you know, however your perception of these subjects, the difficulties of the subjects, your confidence in these subjects, whether you're a parent, employer, I mean, across the board, not just the teacher, but everyone, learning to model positive attitudes toward STEM learning is crucial.
Right.
Crucial piece.
Yeah, one of the things that we looked at when we were looking at the direct research was one of the most dangerous things that a parent could say is, well, I was never very good at that either. You know, it's a statement that parents make trying to comfort their kids that are struggling with these different topics, when in fact what it does is it gives them the mindset that, oh, I must be genetically predisposed to not be very good at this, and so there's no point in me even trying.
Yes.
You know, it's really important for parents to communicate that, hey, this is good stuff to learn. Yes, it's a struggle. Struggle is part of the process of learning, and we figure out how to be successful by overcoming failure. And that's part of that whole positive attitude around the process, beyond just the subjects themselves.
Yeah, my first daughter entered college this year, and then it's another STEM subject. But I remember in our visit to college campuses, and this is a critical piece for our college partners out there, you invite onto your campus thousands, tens of thousands of potential students who may not go to your campus, but their experience there with these subjects may well frame and shape their whole experience of what they choose wherever they go. And I remember her walking in, she loves physics, walks into this, you know, physics department, and it was all, one was all male, but two, it was all negative. This is so hard. This is, you know, there was no sort of positive messaging and framing that, you know what, there is a challenge to it. I think a lot of the traditional STEM subjects, they sort of pride themselves on knocking people out, you know, on this sort of failure mentality. We had a great interview with some of the land grant universities a little while back, and I think you read about that. And so a lot of the land grant universities are actually framed around creating opportunity for all, and so they have a greater sense of supporting students in these more challenging subjects, and that's critical.
We flip through the slide just so we can see what that.
Yeah, so we got that probably needs to be larger. A little bit.
This is the Girl Scouts of America stuff.
Yeah, it's a
Small
Girl Scouts.
anecdotes are good.
Anecdotes are very good, and feel free to just get excited. If you get
not
seriously. I know
Yeah.
once you get a little more caffeine in you, but like that reflects really well when you're like kind of pumped about it. When you're like, yeah, you know, this is really cool stuff. I'm really passionate about this. People who are watching will notice that. Be like, yeah, these guys aren't super tired and are in fact really excited.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, you're like, no, thank you. I'm pretty tired. We also need to get some felt or something to go underneath that and make some additional stuff. So that
Okay, so we got the Girl Scouts.
for when the drumming happens, because it'll happen. And
This is
it's
2
good.
versus 3.
And then we got just their exposure and
I'm really
connection
bad
with
at keeping
individuals. So that's the 2 pieces for the Girl Scouts. And then we get on to how can I get there.
Just
So we're going to break into, I wonder if I do that first or I do that last. Because what I did was I'm going to move these up. I think these are more interesting.
Oh man, it's a lot of charts.
Yes, it is. But they're going to like this crap.
all right, so I'm just gonna be quiet for this whole thing.
You're going to help read the charts off because
That's all I can do.
You're going to comment on the charts.
Why would you say that?
Okay.
Great color scheme, Daniel. I really like what you're doing with these things.
These numbers are fantastic. I love 37.
yes. So what we're pushing here is kind of that involvement in the survey and some of the data we pulled out of that. So we'll look at the issue. So around partnerships, partnerships are what make this all work, right? Relationships between employers, colleges, and high schools. That is what we're trying to frame. Our STEM Jobs Approved program is all about the partnership aspect of it. So what we wanted to do is pull out some of the data from last year and just look at what colleges and employers are telling us who participated in the survey.
I mean, we say that partnership's really important. Should we really, I feel like we should, this all kind of leads into why are partnerships so important. It's because there's this lack of connection across the board. And teachers don't have the training to be able to make those connections. Even college professors don't have the ability to make those connections. Their degree programs are not directly connected to employers. So we really need to get these different entities working together so that from the moment that child steps into whatever class it is at the school, they have the sense that what they're doing is connected to things beyond that classroom and beyond that school building and that campus.
Yep. So
Whether they are in 6th grade or whether they are a senior in college, they have this sense of being connected to a greater group of people. And the only way to accomplish that is to get these 3 different entities really working together.
How many graphs in a row are you going to be showing them?
17.
bunch. So we should be able to flip through them pretty easily.
Yeah. So
I can do the whole John Madden thing.
I'd
You
be
got the
more-
number 18 here. You got
I'd
number-
be like, I'd be more interested in the screen sharing that stuff at this point than like having it behind you if it's that big of a focal point.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like
So I'll have to be signed in order to, can I screen share?
don't worry about it for this one. And in the future,
We'll be able to shoot these, so we can shoot it over to them. So and we'll talk through it.
Yeah. For future webinars, I want to do some more research on like best practices, and it would be great if we could have a room, or someplace better than this, because this is
For sure. Not yet.
Can you move over a little bit to this way?
Over which way? This way?
Yeah. Because
Is that better?
No,
Does that look better now?
deplorable. You
So-
are deplorable. Goodness, Glenn's face is just.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, I hate it. Oh, all right. Actually, that's fine right there, Daniel.
Right here?
Yeah. Oh man, I totally need to.
Good. So some of the first things we're going to look at is just tracking. Like, how are you doing? And that's kind of where we started off with the whole STEM Jobs Approved piece. Is we're finding that organizations in general, just if you don't track or measure anything, the likelihood that you'll get better at doing that is not high.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. They gotta know where they're being successful and where they're not being.
right. So the outcomes. So we looked at organizations, what they're doing who are getting positive outcomes. We're going to take a little different tack with the employer side of this, but on the college side, we looked at our top STEM Jobs Approved colleges and what are they doing specifically. So a big piece is they actually do track female faculty in STEM programs.
Right.
That is one thing that they
Over
certainly track.
90% of them track that metric.
Absolutely. And so we asked kind of 2 questions around there. And so average percent of females. Then we also looked at the average percent of minorities, and there were less in terms of tracking there. And then senior positions. There's a piece that was added into the survey based on our advisory council, which is to say that just having female professors in these STEM subjects is critically important. Even more important, though, is having them in senior positions where they have influence over the department and how it's shaped in terms of building the culture there. So what you see is that, and this is not a high percentage, so as we're going to find out a lot of this, that there's still a lot of
It's a long way to go.
it's a long way to go. And I would say diversity is the lowest score, I think, overall, but at least getting to ourselves, or are we even tracking it, is a big piece of that. So 37% and 30%, relatively speaking, in terms of females in STEM subjects among those that are performing the best in these areas. That's a high number. A lot of schools are well below where that happens to be. And then minorities,
18
much
to
lower.
14, yeah, much lower.
If someone else is talking, you can look at that other person and occasionally like nod. You know, if you're talking, 75% of your eye contact should be with the camera. You can like that. You had a good head nod mode between the two of you a minute ago, and that was fantastic. But if you can try to maintain out here,
Okay.
yeah, keep going.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's where those numbers
Go
are. Yeah.
through,
So we're going to look at how do they use in terms of outreach and
what do they do
recruitment.
for outreach?
What do they do for outreach? So this is the percentage of those organizations that are, so they're using a lot of external firms, the social networking, and here it's Facebook. So 75% of these are actually Facebook. They still have print. So very little on virtual school fairs. A lot of them are attending school
Actual
fairs.
school
So,
fairs, yeah.
so it's a good way to make a connection.
And trying to make high school visits.
And then, working on the high school visit piece. So those are two of the pieces. So if you having a school fair and building these high school visit opportunities
Right.
creates at least one area.
And these are difficult things for universities to do. I mean, they're expensive. They're time consuming, costly. It's
that-
difficult to get out there.
Referring hosting their own school fairs or going to
That's going to
Okay.
in person to a school fair. Yeah.
So trying to get a presence on the schools, on school grounds is obviously a high priority for colleges.
For sure. The next piece we're looking at is just retention of students. So what I think is interesting is a lot of the schools that didn't make the survey, right, did not actually work, had no idea how they were retaining students in the STEM programs. It was different than just retaining STEM students in your university. So we're actually looking at those that track that. And so the higher performing schools are able to retain STEM students in STEM programs by 80%, which is a significant margin. Not just falling off and letting them slide into a non-STEM degree program. So now when you break that to women and minorities, it certainly is a lower percentage overall, but they're still performing fairly well there. And then what we looked at, did you continue to track them? This is after the first year. Do you continue to track retention in STEM programs after the second year that they're there? At the end of the second year, and so you're seeing some decline there for sure. But still, my guess, what we're seeing, that these programs, those are really high numbers in comparison to most organizations. And a lot of organizations simply don't track those numbers.
Right. What's interesting, if you want me to, if you want to use them, there's a stat I saw that says that only 59% of students graduate after 6 years overall. So the fact that I'm not sure if that bodes well for these numbers or not.
Yeah, these are probably the students that are able to track in those areas. Yeah. The other piece that we're seeing an uptick in, because this is growing, is actually offering STEM curriculum in partnership with high schools. Yeah.
I'll get a sign. It's
We have
okay.
to
Do
do
it
it.
progress.
Okay. We're gonna go to this next thing.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do the outreach, STEM admission counselors, staff training to support them, specific web pages. So some of the things they're doing, theme clubs, et cetera, on campus to support their STEM students. And then we're gonna move to employers. So employer numbers are much lower.
Can you remove that on the top right? Meet the stars that bring ESPN. Don't know why that's there.
Well, this has
Part of
why that's there.
There you go. Nice.
That line is.
All right, gentlemen. 120, 130.
Yep.
If you can be here 1:30 at the latest in costume. And when we do a debriefing on webinars, we'll try to go over some stuff that we can do in the future to just not only have better webinars in terms of attendance, ideas, fleshing it all out a little bit more, but also just if I'm helping with them, some directing and things like that can help out a little bit.
Okay.
And Daniel getting us buying a room, transforming a room. You can do it. I believe in you. Sign off on a bunch of things. Make the magic happen.
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you guys. Everything is awesome. If you will.